Welcome to the social circle where creators come together to turn ideas into impact and goals into a reality. I am Candace, and this is
Jennifer, and good morning, good afternoon, and good evening to you wherever you are joining us from. I'm so happy you guys are here.
today. We are getting into the feeling of just being completely drained by content creation, trying to keep up with the never-ending cycle of posting, and it's not discussed enough, but we all feel it, and that is burnout.
Very true. And in fact, I think that's something that's happening currently with our little group of friends. We talk about this, and it was interesting to see how everybody's like, yeah, totally not wanting to do anything today. And it's just a real feeling. It's an emotion, but it's something once you understand you're feeling it and you know kind of how to strategize around it, your content hopefully won't have a problem there. So we do have some good information for you guys today.
Listen, burnout is real, it is frustrating, and honestly, if you're not careful, it could completely derail any of your progress, any momentum that you've built up, your creativity. It could just derail all of that. And I have been there. And the key is really just pushing through and finding something that is sustainable for you to stay consistent without burning out and running yourself into the ground. So let's talk about how to build a content strategy that works for you and not against you.
So for today's circle hack, what we want to talk about here are some quick ideas on setting realistic goals, like can post one time a day instead of three times a day, if that's what you're feeling, because you're too much butter spread on a piece of bread. So that's the best thing that you can do so that you still have that accountability within the platform that you're showing up at least the one time a day. I would still also suggest engaging for a minimum of 5 minutes on the platform instead of just post and ghost, right? That's a term that we've used frequently where you're just posting the one time a day just to get it done and then you don't interact again. I would continue with the idea of posting and then replying to any comments that you've had, setting a limit for just a few comments, and then at the end of the day, if you feel like going back in, do it. If you don't, that's okay. You've at least done the one post and the at least 5 minutes of interaction on the platform.
Yeah, yes. It's way better to post consistently, like your level of consistency at a
Hmm.
sustainable pace for you, than to just jump all in and get burned out and then disappear. You have
Yep.
to find a rhythm that works for you that's not going to burn you out.
Love that.
So let's break down some practical ways to create content, starting with a big one, which we talk about a lot in our social circle VIP group. And in fact, we went over this in last week's boot camp in detail is batching. Batch creating saves so much time.
It's honestly been the focal point behind my strategy. And it has been something I learned about it, I heard about it, but I never practiced it for several months. And it's okay if you don't still understand that. We do describe a lot more of that in detail within the boot camp and other topics inside of our community. But one thing with batching your content, for example, I'm a lifestyle account where I'm just relating to my community members on a basic human level of living. So for me, I'm a very mundane homebody type of person, and it is the most easy thing for myself to batch record in setting my camera up two locations in my home and just moving my camera around and just acting out, but like walking around my house. And I just move my camera around in several different positions. Up on my counter or I set it up on my tripod. And then I just angle everything so that I still have the good lighting and the good space to write my context, my subject matter. But making that decision to spend 15 minutes even to just move the camera around and record what I do it has been the game changer for my content because I
Let,
can then reuse that over and over in my account.
let me ask you this question. What are you doing? Give just a couple little examples of what are you doing when you're just recording for 15 minutes and then you're moving your phone from place to place, typically.
So my top reel, I'll explain that in this example. My top reel is me setting my phone up on my TV. So I have this thing on the back of my phone. I don't know if you can see it in my camera. It's a sticky pad and my phone sits inside. It's on charge right now. But the phone I slap up on my TV on in the middle of my living room, and then I'll have my son and me sit on my couch and we'll be playing a game, or I'll be going over his alphabet with him, and I'll just hit record on my phone and I will record. There's a timer, by the way, that you can set on your record when you're getting ready to hit record button. There's an option to have that timer set for recording only 10, 15, 30 seconds at most.
From the
So that's
app, you mean?
from inside the app, yeah.
Okay.
And thanks for clarifying.
No, I just
So
want to make
from inside the app, that's what I've done because it cuts out all that extra editing time where if I just set my camera up on my phone from my phone camera and then hit record, there's a lot of extra editing. But that's how I would use my daily life as a B-roll where I'm just sitting with my son. And I think that video has like 7 million views on that because of the content that I've got, the subject matter that I wrote on that. But I've been able to reuse that video several times with other types of content that are family, parenting, motherhood related in my lifestyle account. And that's been one of the best moves that I made, which was just reflecting me and my son. And then I do the same thing with me and my daughter. Other B-roll that I do is I go for walks with my kids. I have them kind of spaced in front of me, like 2 to 3 feet. Then I take my phone, I hit record, and I just point down so that my camera view is me just above holding my phone. And then I have a view of my kids walking ahead of me and then my feet. That's another really good B-roll. That's just something that you can do while you're just walking. Walk your dogs, walk your kids, have your cup of coffee in a car. Just,
yeah.
it's so many simple things. You wouldn't even believe how easy it can be to batch record the things you do every single day that other people are doing.
And here's another great example for me. I do the same thing similarly. I set up the camera. Most of the time, if we're doing something, I will just set up the camera so I can have B-roll. I have 11,000 videos in my phone. I just looked this morning. I have over 11,000 videos in my phone, but I try and do it a lot. But then we plan one day a week when Charlie, my husband, is home. I will set aside sounds. I will set aside videos to remake things that I thought were funny that we could do in our own type of way. So that's how we do it. You could also do that for speaking videos. You
Mhm.
can pick your topics and then plan which ones you're going to talk about on that day. So just like you can plan them out, speak them, and then piece them out throughout the week and fill them into your content
I
while
love
you're
that.
and
I
it's already
agree.
recorded. You just add the words and the captions. So
That's
you're
perfect. Yeah.
smarter, not harder, baby. That's
Yeah,
military way.
yeah, definitely. Don't worry so much about, well, when am I going to find the time? You have to add or create or build the timeline into your life. And like I said, I do it very simply because of the kind of content that I create. It is all based around my life as a mother, as a working mom at home, as a wife at home, right? I don't really go to fancy vacation places. So my audience won't relate if I'm constantly showing travel. So that's why depending on your choice of niche, try to be as relatable to your audience as you can be. And if you're somebody who is similar, you don't have anything exciting, then you just make sure that you're finding the copy, right? So focus on the copy, the wording that you add over your video, and then match it to a really great audio. All of that will take practice, right? You can't get it on the very first try, but as long as you continue try to doing it, it will get better. You will find the patterns that work best for you. I just addressed this to somebody in another community today,
Mm.
and I think that's where you have that planned out, and that helps when you are ready to take the break to recharge. So now that I've had my time where I've B-rolled, I've batched, I've done all of that pre-work during the weekdays, Saturdays and Sundays, typically for me, I honestly, I will take one day and I don't post more than once a day.
That leads us into the second main topic,
Yep.
which is taking breaks, which sounds counterproductive, but please continue.
Yeah, no, it's been a very fulfilling moment when I'm able to say, right now I'm prioritizing my mental health. I don't want to see comments from people. I don't want to respond to anybody. I don't want to market research. I don't want to audit my own account. I just want to spend time with my family. That's a decision that I make one day a week, whether it's a Saturday or a Sunday. I've decided, and this took me some time to figure that out, but for my schedule personally in my life with how things were going, I needed to have that one day. And it has not affected me, I don't feel, in any kind of negative way, other than I feel more excited to come back to remake more content or redo or, audit and move forward.
Yeah.
So I'm not constantly on my phone 7 days a week, 24 hours a day. It was necessary for me to take the moment to stop posting one full day of 9 times a day, right? So it's a benefit to yourself to build that into your schedule as well.
You have to give yourself that permission sometimes to unplug for your own mental health, for sure. And like you said, even if it's just taking the weekend off, that's why the batching and the scheduling gives you that time to take a break. And don't forget the power of templates and repurposing.
Hmm.
Not every post has to be created from scratch. You've had something perform well, cool. Redo it. Put the same words, the same
Yep.
video, the same sound, turn it into a carousel, make it into a thread. I have videos in my phone set aside that I know every time I post that video, no matter what text is with it, the video will go viral for whatever reason. So that's something you will learn along the way and things that you'll have. And I also have repurpose.io, which repurposes a lot of my content for me into my YouTube. So, but
And
that
how
has
how
saved me
does
so
that
much
work?
time.
How does that work for people who don't know exactly repurpose.io and what its function is?
Basically, it is a system that pretty much takes all of my videos from Instagram and TikTok and repurposes them onto YouTube. It's funny that you asked because we just covered this in week 6 of the Creator Bootcamp in the Social Circle VIP. So if you want more information on repurpose.io, make sure you join the community so you get that information. And we will also put a link for repurpose.io down in the show notes. So for me, and I'm pretty sure you have the same thing because we've been doing it long enough, right?
Yep.
You gather this library of copy that will work for your audience, for your niche, and for your goal. You have your videos that always, no matter what copy you put with it, always will go viral or always will get a lot of views. That's what I mean in one way of having a template and having those kind of files put to the side. And what about you, Jennifer?
Something that I've learned over time, right, is tracking my content. And because of the job that I've held for 20 years, I use spreadsheets every day with my work. It has kind of developed a me where I'm able to track everything that has worked in my content as well, similarly. So I go through monthly, I do deep audits on my content. And because I've been tracking things, it has helped me kind of easily find content that I can remake if I want to grow my following. So then I'll do a period where I will just go for 30 days of only creating reels that have performed well. So that template, like you're saying, that's something that I have found to work for me. There's a lot of other options that people use. I think Google Docs has prompts for content creation where you can track content if that's how your brain works. If you'd rather write everything out and just note things in a notebook, do that, right? Whatever works for you and how you find easy to process things, that's something to work out as a template for yourself. I think that's something very helpful when you're trying to beat back this whole burnout with content creation. Find ways in your work to make things simpler for you down the road. It might seem hard and difficult right now because you really don't know what you're trying to figure out, but little tips like that, I swear it helps a bunch later down the road after you've created content for multiple times. It just helps to have that in your back pocket of, okay, well, I've been able to find this thing that worked for me, and so now I'm just going to reuse the format. I'm going to reuse the reel.
Like I said, working smarter, not harder.
Hmm.
And then you can show up at your level of consistency without burning yourself out.
Definitely.
For today's social spotlight, I want to talk about something that I have seen and something that I have overheard in my Instagram creators group is the hustle, constantly posting hustle of your business, your everything being perfect, your videos being perfect, your editing, everything just being perfect. And then the other side of that just being the softer side of you, the more every single day. And it's called soft posting. And I'm not sure if you've heard of it, Jennifer, but it's like casual, off the cuff type stuff, random, which I love.
So that, yeah, I've not heard that phrase before. That's something new for me to learn today. So I'm excited to talk a little bit more about that. Um, and this, I think, is where I'm wondering if there should be kind of a barrier for that type of posting. So if you're trying to get started, if you're trying to find consistency and build a pattern for yourself, does soft posting fit into that? Or is soft posting something that you can create once you've established the habit of showing up every day? So that would be my first question that I thought to ask when I heard you say soft posting. I'm thinking, is it something where you're already established and you've already practiced styles of content that you know work, and now choosing to kind of fall back, have to do this every day, to I feel better where I can just post this and I know it's going to be okay because I've already done something similar. Is that what soft posting kind of is?
So no, I think I would describe it as more of just pulling back from the high production type content. Instead, just people pretty much this what we share, right? The real life posts, us in the kitchen or in the garden or stuff like that. It's just more creators I've seen are posting that casual, off the cuff type stuff, random thoughts behind the scenes.
So like versus highly edited, produced
Correct.
content to the authentic, I'm just going to hit record and whatever happens, happens.
Right. Like the
Okay.
opposite hustle, like high end Devil Wears Prada
Right.
type
Yeah. And then
content.
here comes fun in the car line at pickup.
Right. Yeah. And I've been seeing it so much more since I've seen it a lot more. I think it's evolved so much more in 2025, but I've seen it shift so much from when we started. And even before that, content used to be something that was out of our leagues, right? We couldn't even consider like being on the making content, right?
Yeah.
So,
And at one Instagram, the platform in and of itself was just for carousel photos, to my understanding. I never
yeah.
really used Instagram like when it was created in whatever year, a decade ago.
Yes, my very first Instagram post on my first Instagram account was my son was doing a science fair project and I took photos of his plants because I wanted to use the filters to put on the board, like when I
Mm,
printed out. So yeah, that's what it was. It was just pictures with
right.
like your text. It was Facebook, but cooler.
And that's something to keep in mind too. So this is not something I think that's a hard and fast will stick around forever, because social media in and of itself changes a lot, infinite times, because consumers watching our content, they get smart to our tactic. They get smart to what they're seeing and they decide, I don't care anymore, so I don't want to watch it. And so we have to constantly evolve how we find answers, how we solve problems, and how we show up. And it's not to scare you from that. It's just simply, it's better to practice knowing how to find that information so that it makes it a lot easier to create that content. And I think soft posting is, it's a good thing to see that content creators are deciding to just hit post and see how it goes rather than focus so much on being perfection is a myth. There is nothing in reality about perfection. So I think taking that with like a grain of, it's ideal to try to develop the habit first. And then if you realize, well, this has become one side note to that too. If content creation is starting to bother you in certain ways, consider, are you needing to pivot your content? And I think that should be a discussion for maybe another day.
That's a whole nother
But
podcast,
that's a
sister.
whole, yeah, discussion. But in that case too, think about those things. And I know we've talked about, narrowing, finding what you want to talk about and figuring that part out. And all that ties into it. So if, I think one creator make a complete switch in her content and she's like thriving now from what she was doing. It was a burden. It was too much. She was feeling burnout from what she was doing. And she
Yep.
did decide to do the pivot and she's so much happier. I myself went through the same thing. So I think that's something to consider as well. Sorry to go off topic of the soft touch post content, but
No, that
that
was
was
brilliant. That was
that's
a great reminder that there's lots of different ways to do this. It's
hmm
just if you're feeling the pressure and you're feeling like you're failing or whatever because your videos aren't the best or you don't have covers on your Instagram profile, which I hate. But like, if you're feeling pressure, this is your permission to embrace a soft post. Keep it
definitely.
simple, show up as you as who and give yourself breathing room.
It shouldn't feel like a burden to come onto social media.
Right. Yes.
Um,
Just yes, you said it's
Point
so
blank.
true. So true.
That actually brings us over to our next topic that we love to talk about, which is our inside the VIP circles, where we are going to tell you about a member inside of our group who has taken a break at this point, right? One of our members, Alexa, she did actually experience, she was unable to post for several weeks. I believe it was over
Yeah.
almost a
Her
month.
right, because of her
Yeah.
iPhone. And she couldn't get into her apps and had to wait for an appointment with
Yeah.
Apple for like
It
a
was
month.
very to her. So when she was to us and she was saying, guys, I don't know what to do. I'm afraid that my account is going to be, banned or lose its flow. That's the uptick that she was having of gaining following. And we had, brainstormed some content ideas for her. We actually suggested in the downtime when she's unable to do the posting, some do some digging, figure out if you even like the kind of stuff you're doing. Take this time to look back you've already done and maybe revamp it if you need to. If that's not on the board for you, right? The platform's on there. So it's going to do its thing while you're absent and it's going to take your content for you and redistribute it into the algorithm so that other people are still seeing it. And I think when she actually returned after her break away from her platform, it had shown she had following. She had grown, didn't she?
Yeah, after that, when she started posting again, her engagement actually soared. Now she's showing up again more intentionally, so the algorithm is going to reward her. And all that
Exactly.
is proof that you don't have to be there every single day. Like you can take a break and you're not going to get completely ripped apart or penalized or whatever word from the algorithm.
Right. Yeah. And the guideline, right, that if you are having that struggle to stay consistent because of burnout, like we've already suggested, to show up once a day at the bare minimum. If you're unable to, and if it's taking weeks and you're unable to get back to your account, please try and make the effort, even if it's to just practice outside of posting. So hitting record, creating something and then never posting it, deleting it, at least try to make sure that you're putting in that effort to show back up online. And when you're ready to hit post, then hit post. If you take the break, don't forget completely. I think I've talked to so many people that get started, they try to post content, then they get sidetracked, and then they stop posting content. And then I hear them 6 months later, I have to get back into this. If you're trying to develop this habit of creating content to post on your social medias for a certain reason, and you're struggling with getting started or getting into it, at least make that effort for yourself, right? Because you're creating that habit to do the thing. And habits take at least 30 tries before it becomes a formed habit. The algorithm is working hard to help you, and you got to kind of do the take. So you got to help the algorithm back.
Jennifer, you imagine how many people that started at the same time as we did that have quit. And now they look back and they see all of the accomplishments and all of the things that we have done. And they say, man, I should have just kept at it. Man, I should have XYZ, whatever. And say that to be, I don't say that with like hate in my heart or malice, or I just say that statistically, there are people 100% that we knew, that we started with, that we were in groups with, that we talked to, that look at us on social media every single day and say, damn, I wish I would have kept going like they did
That's a big thing, right? It's a lot of your mindset. Your mindset does need work when you are getting started in this. And I'm working on my own every single day. I don't quit with
every
changing
day.
my
Yeah,
mindset. It's
same
it's
here.
a yeah, it's gotta
Constant.
say. As many other mental health podcasts, as many other communication podcasts, anything that you're struggling with, go find the answer. Go find the help for yourself, because you become a better creator if you are constantly filling your cup and working on the things that you struggle with. If you find that you're having a problem with something, try to find the answer, because that is going to help you overcome. I think one of our members currently has a sticky wicket with tech, right? She's
Yeah.
constantly starting and stopping and hitting a wall because she's so focused on the technical piece of what she's trying to do, even though that technical piece technically doesn't need to be done right now. She's
Right.
still taking that as her main focus, but it doesn't have to be complete now. It can get done later, and then she should try and do other things. And we are helping with that. But it's a personal mindset part, is that somebody has to wrap their brain around that fact that while I'm doing this thing, I can also be doing this thing. And one of the people that I got started with, I was like, let's be friends because this is great, right? I need some accountability. And she's like, yeah, we need it. And I think so she's promoting content for affiliate marketing. And then she didn't like the product that she was promoting. And so she jumped ship. She went to a different kind of product. It was similar. I'll say it would be adjacent to affiliate marketing. And she got started with it, created some stuff on it. And it took maybe 3 months of her time. And then she was like, I'm done. I can't. This is too much work. This is too hard. And she went right back to the job that she quit because she just was like, I can't do it. And I've heard of who, cold turkey job to start learning digital marketing and makes it work for themselves. You're an amazing kind of person. I will give you that. But there are other people who are working a job, raising their family, and small, slow start steps are building their business on the side. And if that's something that you can relate to, come back for more because we talk about that a lot. And this is
Yeah.
something that I think a lot of people will let all these little excuses, well, my work, my kids, my life, right? I can't encourage people. Reframe your cannot into how can I? No
Yeah.
matter the question. That has been the biggest thing I've learned is stop thinking always negative and reframe into a more positive, how can I? Find me an answer, right?
Right. Hey, military put that in my head. Find me a way to yes. Like
Hmm.
that's something that would constantly say to us. I'm sure you get that in your field a
Hmm.
lot as well. Find me a way to yes or no,
Hmm.
honestly, right?
Yeah,
But find
basically.
me find me the way to get here through the gray. Find me to this.
Yep.
Right. So that's the same. You have to your brain. And that's exactly why when we created the Social Circle VIP, the first thing we start with is mindset.
Hmm. It's so valid. Was the biggest that I had, my biggest hurdle was, well, what if my job found out I was creating content? And now here almost 3 years later, I'm creating content and my boss at my job does know that I am working on a side business. But it's not interfering because I've been able to schedule my timing so that my content goes out when I need it to, and I've been able to schedule when I work on my business on the side. So it's all you got to get over a lot in the beginning. You got to do a lot of work mentally to accept what you're choosing to do. If you're choosing to do digital marketing and sell a product online or sell a service or whatever online, that is a decision that, you have to terms with to make it fit into your life.
Yeah, and honestly, I think this is a great segue, Jennifer, for people.
If you are struggling, and you feel to have some accountability for you getting into what you're doing, that is partly what we do here. We will walk you through better than this podcast how to get through your content and creating it. So if you are interested, make sure you DM us. Candace is here at Just a Marketing Chick on Instagram, and I'll be over here at Jen Radilak on Instagram. If you've enjoyed this episode, and I hope you did, because I enjoyed it myself, make sure you hit that subscribe button. And if you are ready for that next level support, go ahead and join us inside of our Social Circle VIP group. We do go twice. We have live streams that we have individually on our group. Make sure you hit that boot camp first because that piece of mindset will be that very first thing you check out. It's a 12-week boot camp currently, so check that out as well. And make sure that you like and follow this podcast so that you get weekly updates from your girl Candace and me, Jen.
Woohoo! Thank you so much
Thank you
for
for being
joining
here.
us, and we will see you next week.